Hello, Hannah, Jeremiah, lesson 12, back to Egypt from Wednesday, second part, taken into exile. Read Jeremiah 43, 8 through 13. What did the Lord say through Jeremiah? Tapan, Tapan. Tapanhes was a town at the northern eastern border of Egypt that had significant fortifications and where a great number of Jewish colonists lived. Here again, the Lord wants Jeremiah to act out a prophecy symbolically. Even though words are powerful, sometimes when things are done in real life, when they are acted out before us, the point comes through even more strongly. How exactly Jeremiah was to bury stones at the entrance to Pharaoh's house. We aren't told. The point, however, was clear. Even the mighty perils were no match for the Lord, and he would fulfill his word just as he had said. The refugees who thought that they would find protection and safety by going to Egypt were as wrong as those who, as we saw earlier, thought that they could find protection and safety by having Egypt come to them. Jeremiah 37, 7, 8. The Egyptian gods were useless figments of rapt imaginations. These gods were pagan abominations that kept the people in abject ignorance of truth. The Israelites should have known, as we should now know, that our only true protection and safety is in obeying the Lord. When self-denial becomes a part of our religion, we shall understand and do the will of God. For our eyes will be anointed with I serve, so that we shall behold wonderful things out of his law. We shall see the path of obedience as the only path of safety. God holds his people responsible in proportion as the light of truth is brought to their understanding. The claims of his law are just and reasonable, and through the grace of Christ he expects us to fulfill his requirements. Ellen White, The Advent Review and Sabbath Herald, February 25th, 1890. Think about the symbolism too in the Israelites going back to Egypt in their desire to find safety. How ironic! In a spiritual sense, what are ways that we could be tempted to go back to Egypt to find what we think we can't find with the Lord. Thursday, open defiance. Yeah. Read Jeremiah 44, 1 through 10. What were the captives doing in Egypt? During the Egyptian captivity, Jeremiah had to face the same problem he had while he and his people had lived in Judah. At that time, he had to talk to the leaders. Now he had to talk to the common people who in captivity were committing some of the same sins and brought this devastation on them to begin with. What startling answer did they give to Jeremiah when confronted by their sins? Jeremiah 44, 15 through 19. The hardness of their hearts and the deception that had overtaken them are astonishing. Basically, they looked Jeremiah in the face and defied him and what he spoke to them in the name of the Lord. The rationale was simple. Rationale was simple in the early days. In the name of simple in the early days before the reforms of Josiah, when they were heavily steeped in worshipping pagan gods, even burning incense to the Queen of Heaven and pouring out drink offering to her. Things went well for them. They were materially well off and dwelt in safety. However, it was only after the reforms of Josiah, which were too late, that calamity struck. So why should they listen to Jeremiah and all his warnings? Jeremiah's response, Jeremiah 44:20 through 30, was, "No, you don't understand. It was precisely because you did all these things that these calamities have come upon you. Worse, your stubborn refusal to change means that even more calamity will come, and the safety you thought you would find in Egypt is a deception and a lie, just like the pagan gods you worship. In the end, you will know the truth, but it will be too late." What about those who, steeped in sin and unbelief, seem to be doing very well, while at times faithful Christians go through terrible trials? How do we work our way through this reality? Friday, for further study, for further thought, or through the book of Jeremiah, as through all the Bible, we are confronted with the question of good and evil, and as Christians we know good from evil because God has defined these terms for us in many different ways. See, for example, Romans chapter 7, verse 7, Micah 6, 8, Joshua 24:15, Matthew 22:37 through 39, Deuteronomy 12:8. But what if you don't believe in God? How can you know good from evil? Where atheist author Sam Harris has a suggestion. He wrote a book called The Moral Landscape, in which he argues that good and evil can and should be understood only in terms of science. That is the same way that science has helped us understand the difference between the strong nuclear force and the weak nuclear force. It should help us know right from wrong and good from evil. He even speculates that science might one day cure evil. Consider what would happen if we discovered a cure for human evil. Imagine, for the sake of argument, that every relevant change in the human brain can be made cheaply, painlessly, and safely. The cure for psychopathy can be put directly into the food supply like vitamin D. Evil is now nothing more than a nutritional deficiency. Sam Harris, The Moral Landscape, How Science can Determine Human Values. New York, Simon and Schuster, 2010. Kindle edition, page 109. Most scientists, however, even those who don't believe in God would have a problem believing that science can solve these problems. If, however, you don't believe in God, where else can you find these solutions? Discussion questions. 1. With us, everything depends on how we accept the Lord's terms. Ellen G. White, Selected Message, Book 1, page 118. Why is it a mistake to assume that salvation comes with no condition? Conditions are not the same things as works or something that gives us merit before God. How can we learn to differentiate between the false teaching of salvation by works legalism and the false teaching that salvation is not conditional cheap grace? To dwell more on the difficult question at the end of Thursday's study, if someone says, I don't believe in Jesus, I don't even believe in God, and yet look at how where my life is going. In fact, I would say that my life is going better than yours, and you are a Christian. How would you respond? How I respond? Yes, I would say that my life is going better than yours, and I'm a Christian. How would I respond? I don't want to compare with others, but I'm still just go through the stable way, more peaceful way, more dependable way. If there are God, I want to trust in God. That's more fear, peace, and still I want to depend on God, like my parents. When we were a child, when we were children. Yes, like that. Sometimes we make the mistake and sometimes we fall down, but adult, the parents always, just raise up us and help us like that. The all nature belongs to God because He is a creator. We are creature. So we need all nature. We need all nature as a peaceful state. So we want to be a human. So we related with our nature. So if the nature product were good products, then we can eat and we can breathe well. So that's why breathe well, drink nice water, the pure water. Yeah. So we can choose. Though I'm not a perfect speaking in English, but I will try to practice the exercise more, read. Like if all the nature are perfect, God make like that. So yeah, we can, if we just trust God, we can use all of them. That's why I don't want to compare with others, but I'm still satisfied in God. So that's why, yeah, I want to more tell and share with you who just wants to talk about that, because I live in 40 more years, 40 almost 3 years in God. God always take care of me. So that's my experience. That's my kind of witness.